I know of a young man, to put a face on this issue, of a young man who was a high school student, a junior in high school, who made the mistake of stealing somebody's credit card and going out and buying belts and shoes totaling about $300. It's a travesty and an injustice that this young man will now have a felony on his record because of a mistake he made as a child. And so we need to put the pressure on these legislators and policy movers to make sure that they at least increase that threshold to $1,000 to keep in step with other states like Georgia and North Carolina. And so I'm asking you all to continue to help us support that and continue to rally around these kinds of issues. And again, Reverend Robinson, thank you for bringing that issue to the forefront. We will now have my friend Reverend Martin come to speak to us about restoration of rights. Reverend Martin.
Today I stand before you as one who not only pastors those, but has counseled with those who deal with this issue of restoration. We call them ex-felons. We label them like they did the lepers. Yet, they are not ex-felons. They are citizens of Virginia who happen one day to make a mistake. But they ought not to pay for the rest of their lives for one mistake. How many of us have made mistakes, but yet we found redemption? We found restoration. And today we call for the General Assembly. We call for the Senate. We call for our governors and our legislatures and our politicians to move immediately in introducing legislation that will restore the rights of over 350,000 Virginian citizens to have the right to choose their leadership. This is only right. We stand here today because we recognize that these persons are being penalized all the days of their lives. Yet we say we want them rehabilitated and we want them back into society and we want them to be good citizens that work and pay taxes. We want them to pay taxes without representation.
All right.
We must be just in this issue. We must be fair in this issue. This is a moral issue. This is a justice issue. This is a social issue. And it is also an economical issue. But most of all, it is a person's issue. And if you live in Virginia, and if you're doing what it is you ought to do, then by God, you ought to have the right to exercise your full constitutional right as a Virginian to vote. People have died trying to give us the right to vote. Now we stand here on these grounds asking that the restoration of our brothers and sisters, our citizens who've made a mistake, would be restored to full citizenship as the Commonwealth of Virginia. This is what we ask. This is what we ask. And this is what we must do. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Shannon will now come and to field any questions that we might have regarding these critical issues. Dr. Shannon, will you now come?
We're just about done, beloved. And our intention is to offer up quality time. We have a whole hour. We're not going to stretch it and try to make it longer than what it is. As the more people come, the Creator will give us more opportunities to even offer more up to you. I'm led, the Spirit has led me to just address, to hear some questions. I might not be able to answer them, amen, but I assure you I'll do my best to have the answer on the next Moral Monday event, which will be on the first Monday, June the 2nd. We'll be right back here at 6 o'clock promptly to start any questions at this time. All right, I saw your hand first, and I'm coming to you.
What's the best avenue to increase the threshold? What's the best avenue for us to increase the threshold of the $200 amount for felons and get it in there. Do we talk to the legislators, or do we write a bill, or what do we do?
That's a good question, and to be quite frank with you, sir, it is our intentions to have that as a part of our presentation. And so what you have helped me to do, I'm a very transparent person. What you have helped me to do is step up to make sure this is my answer for now. But I assure you I'm going to have a tighter answer next on the June the 2nd. And that is, we've already begun some conversation with through Virginia Alliance Against Mass Incarceration, faith leaders moving forward. And we put this item on the table for the governor to address. All right? Yes.
Listen, let's talk about some of the Alliance for Progressive Values, and we've worked on this particular issue before in the past. Delegate Jonathan McClellan brought legislation that followed on this several years ago.
Yes.
And we think that we can bring it back. I will say, to answer your question, we need to do both. We need to have good legislation, and we need to go to our legislators and our representatives and tell them that this issue is important. We need to push hard. They're only here for a brief period of time. They all want to have other jobs and things. And the fact that you guys do this, this is a monthly thing, is really, really good, because you need to send people home with the idea that they need to get in touch with their legislators, and tell them how important this issue is. It's a hard case on the
Sure.
outside.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. It's very hard. But I have seen movement on this. I've seen movement. There's an understanding that $200 is a farce.
Right.
But how they fix it is another question, and it's important that citizens get involved.
And thank you for that, because in your time, sir, you've helped me to recall some of the things that we have done, all right? And which was, sir, and I appreciate your question, along with what you just said, is that we did, through Virginia Alliance and Against Mass Incarceration, Faith Leaders Move Forward, and others, we were able to identify a Republican. I'm not able to call his name right now just because of memory, but we were able to get them to the $500 limit, and we just didn't feel like that was adequate. So what we did was we thought that it was in the best interest of us as a people collectively to not to invest all our energy in that and wait, do a little more homework, like the gentleman's saying, and then next year perhaps we can get from the inside, legislators on the inside, to put up a bill for 1,000 or plus. All right, that's where we are right now. Yes. Okay. 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 Absolutely. Yes. That's right. Well said. And my response is, and I thank you for the opportunity to shed some more light on this issue. One of the things that Moral Monday, we have a leadership team when we have a planning team. It's a planning team to bring the masses to this site. The leadership team is always open to recommendation to other issues that we feel like we need to address across the state of Virginia. Now, I'm going to give out the contact information so that you're more than welcome, sir. We welcome y'all, any of you all, to submit your ideas and thoughts to this email address. And it is Moral Monday, Virginia. The VA is, Virginia is not spelled out. Moral is spelled out. Monday is spelled out. VA@gmail.com. you have any questions, any concerns, we already have a system in place that will at least forward that information to me in the appropriate fashion. Just give us some time. I'm not at this point. I'm not saying because once we receive it that we're going to jump right on that, because the leadership team, as for example, as the expansion of Medicaid is resolved, and eventually it will be, then we will have to look at what is the most pressing issue. And certainly at this point I can say that is something that we need to talk about now, all the way to our elections and even after our elections. So your point is well taken. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
There's a 67 to 33 party split among the General Assembly House delegates. I often go to my delegate who does not recognize some of the issues that we like to believe in. What are we doing to partner with both parties in order to make a difference in getting our issues out of subcommittee to committee on the floor and get positive votes on?
All right, good question. Now, let me give you a little background. How we looking on time, Doctor? We all right? All right, because we got to 7. All right. Now, what we have done is the Baptist Ministers Conference, and Reverend Martin here is on the running. He's head of the Social Concerns Committee. Baptist Ministers Conference, along with faith leaders moving forward, Virginia Alliance Against Mass Incarceration. We had a press conference up here, and under the leadership of Baptist Ministers Conference, and Delegate Howell, Speaker of the House, he came up, as well as we had a lot of on the other side of the aisle, on our side of the aisle, I should say, who came up. And what we're doing is we're paving our way. This is a golden opportunity for clergy, and this is why we're asking our clergy to wear collars so that we can collectively stand up, regardless to our denomination, regardless of our faith walk. So what we're doing is working on the inside. We were introduced to the General Assembly. I'm not saying that so that you can say woo, woo, woo. What I'm saying is that we find a way to get to the table, and as this gentleman said, we're going to have to stay there. And that's what another part of this platform is about. We can't just say something one time, expect somebody to hear us, then they're going to move. No, we got to put pressure on them. The other part of it, and this is what I'm learning to do, sir, is that in each locale, it's imperative that you do similar things than what we're doing right here. And that we wake up these sleeping giants, regardless of their color, around critical issues. See, if we stay on task with the issue, we will make sure that you are equipped to pass on factual information. And that was one of the requests that I made to the governor's staff this morning, is that they will put in a PDF form factual information on the issues that we're talking about, and we can send it out through our network, and we ain't got to worry about any unintentional alteration of the facts if it's in a PDF form. So I would encourage you, and we can talk more offline, sir, on how it's imperative that we do more of this in every one of our locales, regardless to whether the representative is on our side or not. We still need to get folk awakened and claim ownership in their destiny. All right? Any other question? All right. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to put it back in the hands of Dr. Flowers.
Thank you, Dr. Shannon. Thank you. We want to certainly give opportunity for some of our partnering organizations to speak. So we're going to ask Dr. Tammy Hodo to come now and speak about the African American Family Initiative.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Tammy Hodo. I'm faculty member at VCU, and I'm the board chair for the African American Family Initiative, which is a relatively new organization in partnership with faith leaders moving forward, as well as the Virginia Alliance Against Mass Incarceration. We're trying to address some issues within the Black community that I'm sure some of us are well aware of, the mass incarceration.